and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, as we walk through this world, let your great grace light our path. Let your mercies shelter our soul, and your love heal our heart. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call.
Ms. Lee.
Here.
Mr. Beck.
Here.
Mr. Bryan.
Here.
I move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Lee. I was looking for a pen.
Here. I'm faster than you tonight.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Mr. Bryan.
Aye.
Mr. Beck. Aye.
I move approval of the minutes, regular meeting April 7th, 2020, and special meeting April 7th, 2020.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Mr. Bryan.
Aye.
Mr. Beck. Aye.
Okay. Fiscal officers report.
Our checking account, and we have more than one, but the main checking account, the balance is $3,148,547.47. The HRA checking account has $20,938.38 in it. The credit card checking account has $1,955.72. Our money market fund has $1,193,427.50. I don't have a meter report yet for last month, so I can't give you any figures on that. One of the things I noticed in one of the reports, the cash summary by funds, is that our fire district funds after this month is going to be down to $96,494. And I don't know what you have to do about that, but that's certainly not going to go to the end of the year.
We'll get our tax in July, right? Because it's a month off now. We usually get it in June.
Probably a month behind that. Probably be August.
It won't be probably till August or September now.
Oh,
Yeah, so
Okay.
96,000 is not gonna be enough, so we're gonna have to
Well,
switch.
what do we pay out of that? We pay maintenance of buildings and stuff like that.
We pay LSFD, and then we pay dispatching,
But-
and we pay for all that stuff.
But we
out of
have
that.
other funds that those
Yeah,
things
we'll
come
just have
out.
to pay it out of the safety services fund.
Okay.
But to his point, for next year, when we do the tax budget, we need to fix that. So that we spend less out of that fund, so that we have a higher carryover
Okay,
to carry us through the whole year.
okay.
all right. We can work on that with the finance committee. They can make
Right.
suggestions and
Yeah,
things
we'll
like
just
that.
adjust it for next year, but.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. So now we know. And is that all, Joe? Is that all? Okay, I want to make a quick comment, and I want to thank you because this month has been very peaceful. It has been very professional. I really enjoy knowing on Friday afternoons I have to come and sign in checks instead of having it, whenever. So I think you're doing a great job, and I just want to thank you because you brought a calmness to the township that we really needed.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Anybody else?
I second that. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Okay, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will try to do that.
As we move on, presentations, I think we have a presentation with Chris Jones, Residential ESID. I think we're gonna do a call it.
Hi, Chris. It's Kim from Symmes Township. How are you today?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna put you on. You're on speakerphone, so we're also on camera. So if you want to go ahead and do your presentation and let us know about the residential ESID.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
evening.
Hello?
You still there, Chris?
Yes, can you hear me?
Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Sounds like my
Yeah,
cell phone.
so, yeah, I guess I should start off, Chris Jones. I'm actually a Symmes Township resident since 2001, but I'm employed with a law firm Bricker and Eckler, who is legal counsel to the Energy Special Improvement District that the township, is part of with other surrounding local governments. And so if you remember the Five Seasons Family Sports Club that utilized PACE financing for improvements under the commercial program, we are now actually adding single-family residential properties to utilize PACE financing. And so there's basically PACE financing is the same. It's the same but different. I want to explain just briefly the same to it is that you do take out a loan for energy efficiency related eligible improvements, and the repayment is a special assessment that's added to the property tax bill. And so that part of it is basically the same as commercial. The difference then is that we would not bring, because of the number of single-family homeowners that would utilize PACE, we would not bring every homeowner's request in front of the ECID board or the trustees on a one-by-one basis like we do the commercial properties. It just would not be feasible. So the way that the residential program works is that we have unified the program throughout the state of Ohio. And so what has happened is the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority is the lead program administrator for the residential program, and they would be the ones who actually are approving each of the homeowner requests. And then there is a PACE lender or PACE funder called Renovate America, who is out of San Diego, and they have been instrumental in the 2 or 3 other states that have residential PACE. And so then basically the way that it would work is that the ECID has actually already approved the residential plan for the logistics to this, but then each jurisdiction, such as Symmes Township, would actually have to approve the legislation that authorizes this. And the main really kind of piece of the legislation, in addition to the residential plan, is what's called the Cooperative Agreement. And the Cooperative Agreement, basically, each of the jurisdictions are authorizing the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority to approve each of the homeowner requests. And, and then at that point, I guess there's a couple of main things, and I'll stop for questions, but a couple of main things from the standpoint of what the township would be responsible for. So once you would authorize the initial legislation, then again, that allows the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority to approve each of the homeowner requests. And then the second piece is on an annual basis, roughly in July or August, ahead of the special assessment turn-in to the county, we would then come back and let's just say that, as an example, let's just say that 20 homeowners in a given year use the residential PACE program. We would then come back with one piece of legislation that would be requesting that you actually authorize those special assessments to be turned into the county. And then I'll kind of stop there. That's kind of at a high level, in a nutshell, what the residential PACE program is about.
Chris, could you walk me through a quick example? Like, okay, a homeowner comes to you and they want to do, what would they do? Put solar panels on the roof, or, what exactly are they doing?
Yes. So the way that it would look like to a homeowner is that the program does register contractors. So there is a very heavy emphasis on consumer protections, number one, during kind of the application process. But then the contractors each would get registered through the program, making sure that they, have the proper licenses and certifications and those types of things. But the contractor would be the one that would actually provide the homeowner the information to apply for a PACE loan, and that is all done. It can be done via telephone, but there is essentially a web platform that the homeowner can, sign up and become approved and eligible. But yes, just like the commercial PACE program, the eligible type of improvements are energy efficiency related or renewable energy. So yes, it can be solar panels, it can be energy efficient windows, it can be a heating and cooling system, insulation, air sealing. Those would be, the main things, main improvements for a home that would qualify.
Is there like a cap on how much they can spend or take a loan out for, or?
Yes. So the maximum loans are $25,000, and basically the percentages work out to where it's based on the value of the home. So that percentage also, I believe, is roughly 20%, but up to a maximum of $25,000.
Chris, are there other programs that do the same thing?
I missed the first part of the question.
Are there other programs that would do the same thing?
Are you meaning other jurisdictions that have approved this?
I'm talking about if someone wants to put solar panels on their roof, they get tax advantages and things like that, and they also probably have a source of low interest financing. Is that true or not?
Yeah. So, the options a homeowner has to, finance solar panels or windows or heating and cooling system, historically have been, either like a home equity loan or, credit card type of financing. And so this just, allows a homeowner another option. Again, as a reminder, with regards to really the one main advantage for PACE to whether it be a residential homeowner or a commercial property owner is the long-term nature of it. And so PACE the term can go out as long as the useful life of the improvement. So if the homeowner did want to put solar panels as just kind of an example, that has a useful life of 25 years, but actually it does get capped at 20 years for the maximum term.
Chris, I have a question. This is Cameron.
Yeah.
My question is would this program work exactly the same way the commercial program works, where now that we are a pass-through and we would have to pay for these bonds and loans back to the bank? And if so, can we charge for that service?
So the flow of funds for the residential is the same as the commercial in the fact that it is a pass-through to the township or whichever jurisdiction is participating. And so it is just simply a matter of, once the funds are received, sending those back to the program. And so in this case, again, the Toledo-Lucas County Port Authority is the state administrator. Did that answer your question?
Yes, but can we charge for that since it's passing through us? Because we have to handle it and we have to pay the bill, so we should be able to collect some money for that.
Understand, yes. So the short answer is yes.
Okay.
I can't really kind of quote you like, what would be acceptable, but yeah, the short answer is yes.
If they default on these loans, is there anything that's gonna come back to us?
No. So just like the agreements for the one commercial PACE transaction, the same thing holds with the residential and the cooperative agreement. It clearly states in the documents that the township or any participating jurisdiction is only responsible for the funds that you receive from the county, and that is all. So yes, in the case of a homeowner, is in a foreclosure or default, scenario, the township, has no legal liability to pay that.
Okay.
Does the township have any impact in the approval cycle at all? What if we know something about the particular homeowner, okay, that on our nuisance list and so on all the time, and I don't feel comfortable allowing the Port Authority of Lucas County making all the approval cycle. They're far removed from the site and everything else.
Yeah, so the Port Authority would be overseeing and authorizing both from the financial approval of the PACE funder, and then also making sure that the improvements that are being presented are also eligible improvements. So that is their oversight and approval of each of the homeowners. Are you asking about
What
I guess
input?
something else that if a homeowner was maybe
Well, I'm just saying,
At a
what
zoning-
input would this township have in this process? No, you approved the document.
So I guess if you're asking to be inserted into that approval process, I'm not sure that we've had that been asked at this point, but I can.
I'm not.
certainly-
I'm just wanting to know if it's if there's any input from the township that the township can give before approval's made. I'm not really wanting to be out there investigating all these properties and so on who are applying for a loan.
Yeah, and I apologize, a bit hard to hear, but I guess I'm maybe missing the point of the question.
He wants to know if, say, we have a property that's on our nuisance list, and this same property is asking for your approval to do a loan. Does the township have any input in that process? Because you guys would have no way of knowing that.
Understand. I got you now. Yes. So I can't answer that, how that would logistically occur. But I understand now what you're asking as far as a notice. I don't think that would be an issue if a homeowner, was applying for the loan to for you to be notified to, if you did have somebody that was on, that type of list. So I think that's probably been the first time that's been asked, but I can certainly find out, an answer and how we would do it. One of the things I would probably say is that the homeowner, in these residential situations, generally the time frame is fairly quick in the fact that, a homeowner can apply, receive, a same day approval, and then the installations. Let's just say a homeowner had a furnace that went down in whatever given day. If they were approved in that same day, the installation of the furnace could, happen literally, kind of the next day. So, I guess I would ask is that if there was a call, made to the township saying that, Joe Smith at 123 Elm Street was applied for the PACE loan. Is that something that typically could, would be a kind of a one-day, kind of answer, turnaround?
I don't know.
Okay.
We'd have to work through it.
Okay.
Are there any other communities surrounding Symmes Township that are signed up for this?
Yeah, so currently Sycamore Township, and then we also have Anderson Township and Green Township as far as some of the other larger, similar township entities. We'll give you kind of a timeline where COVID-19 has kind of thrown a bit of a wrench into this, as it obviously has a lot of other things. And so the timeline on this is back, and I've lost track of some months myself, but I believe it was back in the late fall that the Energy Special Improvement District did approve the residential plan, and actually all of the ECIDs in the area did approve the residential plan for PACE, and then from there again, each of the jurisdictions had to authorize the legislation. And so most of those areas that I just kind of briefly mentioned did approve in kind of the January, February timeframe, and then we actually had a handful of other jurisdictions that it was kind of in the legislative calendar to get on agendas, and then kind of March hit.
Okay, I see this as a win for our residents. Is there any downside? I mean, what's the downside to this?
Yeah.
Is there?
So kind of from our perspective on this is that, again, to the township, it is like the commercial program. It's another way to allow a property owner to finance energy efficiency, renewable energy improvements, and like I said, from a collection standpoint, there is no financial liability of the township. We think all of the benefits as far as allowing a homeowner to make improvements on their home through this, while again kind of preserve the thing to the homeowner, just like the commercial property owners, like I said, is the long-term nature, but also they're preserving their own kind of credit line, so to speak. So if I, as a homeowner, don't have to go out and tie up my line of equity, or use a credit card or something like else like that, and I can use the equity that's actually in my home and just pay it back through the tax bill, then that's a pretty big benefit. The only thing that I would tell you is that a lot of times people will Google to learn about things, and so one of the things with regards to residential PACE, where there has been some negative press over the past handful of years, is that residential PACE got started in the California and Florida markets about 5 years ago without a lot of consumer protection oversight, and there were some negative situations that happened. Frankly, a few, because they actually, I believe California, the numbers were, they've surpassed over like 200,000 homes that have utilized PACE financing, and I think the number is like $2 or $3 billion kind of in total, but they did not have consumer protections in place, and the Ohio program has very strong consumer protections in place. So like as an example, the program would not allow someone to qualify for a loan that, as an example, was on a fixed income, even though they had 100% equity in their home. There does have to be an ability to repay, and that's part of the application process. Also, like I said, each of the contractors are approved and registered at the beginning of the program, and the program also talks with each of the homeowners at the application process, so they fully understand what the PACE loan is all about before they do a final sign-off. And then the program also follows up with the homeowner after the improvements have been installed to, for feedback on the contractor and how the contractor performs. So there's very heavy oversight on contractor performance as well. And I would just tell you that is something that just doesn't even exist in the marketplace anywhere. Again, you kind of mentioned, what other sources to finance, be it a home equity loan or a credit card or anything, but there's no oversight like that at all. So I think we're, really pretty proud of the program that has been put together for Ohio. Again, it's a very uniform program. Most other metro areas, I would tell you, the state do have jurisdictions that are ready to go. Most of the jurisdictions in the Toledo area, I think Columbus at this point has signed on. Quite a few kind of Akron area jurisdictions, and so that's kind of where we're at in the residential program.
Okay. That's all I have. Anybody else?
Answer my questions.
Yep. All right.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All
Have a
right.
good evening.
You too.
Thanks for the time.
All right, bye-bye.
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 Okay, I guess we need a next step. Kim?
What are your thoughts? To me, I look at it as a lot of work on our part.
I don't want to have to hire somebody to administer the program here in Symmes Township. Okay, no matter even if it was fully paid for. There are other issues that come out of that. I'm a little troubled by the fact that this is an umbrella, that they're funneling applicants through a list of contractors. They don't have free choice, it has to be on their list and so on. Albeit there are potentially benefits there of watchdogging them and checking how well they perform their job and so on. I think it takes a lot of choice away from the public as to who they're going to get to do what they want done.
But then they don't have to choose to go through with it.
Well, the issue is if they want to get the money, they have to use their contractors. Okay,
Right.
so,
But they don't have to, they can choose not to use that program.
okay. I also think, I know years ago, there were at least one Symmes resident that I'm familiar with that borrowed money through another program, and it wasn't strictly for energy, it was for home improvement. And it was a blanket amount that they could borrow for such and such a period of time at a reduced interest cost. And I'm wondering if there aren't other programs out there that would do the same kind of thing, even including energy enhancement or energy improvements.
Well, didn't the county have that program for a while?
Yeah,
They still
I
have
think
it?
it was through the county. And it kind of begs a question I have in my mind too. Why is he going to a whole bunch of different communities like Symmes Township or the townships and so on? Why isn't he doing it on a county-wide basis, dealing with the county?
Because they have to give each individual jurisdiction's approval. So
Okay.
each jurisdiction would have to approve a set of documents. Remember those five resolutions that we had to approve when we did the commercial district?
Okay,
We have to do the exact same thing for the residential.
okay.
Here's my thought. I'd like to maybe contact Sycamore Township or Anderson Township and see actually how many people they've even had apply for this program since they've started it. Because I don't know if Symmes Township would have that many. So I don't know if it would be a burden to us or not. So I would like to do a little bit investigation on some of the townships that's had it in place for a while and see what their thoughts are and see if they would recommend, if they had to do it all over again, they would or they wouldn't. I like the idea that we're helping out residents in the Symmes Township. If they can get a cheaper loan for home improvements to save energy because I'm, into the environment, I would love to do that for them. I would just like to see what's going on with the townships that's used them in the has had the program.
Okay.
Anybody else?
No, I would think that's a logical next step. Let's talk to the Sycamore, Anderson, Green, and just find out how much workload it poses on them, or, is it just a trickle, or like you say,
Right.
is it one per year? I don't know.
I mean, the work that we do now is we get the collection from the county, so we have to record the revenue that it brings in. And then we have to pay out, then we have to record the treasurer's fees, because every time you get the revenue, you also have to record the collection fee that was assessed with that, and then you make the bond payment. So then you're using a warrant, and it's going through our appropriation system, so that just makes our appropriations go higher, and, I know it's kind of a wash, but
Yeah,
Well, we're only doing it for one commercial business right now.
right now,
Yes,
but if we had, 20, 50, 100, 500 homes, that's a lot of work.
right. So
Yeah.
I think we need to see what's going on in other
we
areas.
just double the collection fee and we get half of it.
I mean, I think we should charge a fee.
Yeah,
If we're
Absolutely,
gonna do the work.
absolutely.
okay.
Okay,
I think we need to get into it some more.
okay, we're gonna move on to public hearing. I just want to say, before we move on from that, because we don't have any residents with us, I'd like to thank all the residents of Symmes Townships and our community. We've done a great job with this coronavirus, and I know it's been tough on us all, and I just telling you to hang in there. Hopefully it'll be over with soon and we can move on with our lives, but thank you for being respectful. I see people in the parks, they're keeping social distance, they're not playing on the play sets even though they're roped off. Some people could rip it off or, whatever. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. Hold on, hopefully this will be over with soon, and if anybody needs any help, please reach out to us because we're more than happy to help anyone. Okay? Does anybody else want to say anything? No? Okay, I'm going to move on. I move approval of disbursements warrant number 77460-77627 in the amount of $773.90.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye?
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr.
Beck.
Aye.
Reports. Law Director. Okay. Police.
Good evening, everyone. I don't have a lot to report tonight, but I was just, Ms. Elise, I was going to just wait my turn to echo some of your remarks. I'd like to make a few comments, if you don't mind. All in all, in my opinion, my appraisal of the situation, we have fared extremely, extremely well with this pandemic. The support from the community has been outstanding. Just recently, last week, I was driving around down at Camp Dennison. I had a very cordial conversation with a resident down there who was walking her dogs. Her mindset, her outlook, her comments about public safety, about the whole thing, they were very, very positive. I spoke to another resident on Vicksburg last week. Again, she was out with her children. She's forced to work from home. The comments and remarks were very, very positive. The business community's been fantastic. Our local restaurants like Papa John's and Jersey Mike's and a couple of others have dropped off all sorts of food and beverage items at the district. It's been a really nice show of support and a nice gesture. It's kind of kept us going. We do receive complaints, but I would like the board to know that those complaints, first of all, are not major. There's nothing that's been earth-shattering in any way, shape, or form. We have been able to come to compromises, and we found viable solutions for these complaints. And in terms of frequency, the complaints we're not just inundated with them. They're actually pretty few and far between. It's not like we're in the district and we're being inundated day in and day out with one complaint after another. So in general, it's a testament to the community, the citizens that live here and work here. In general, things have been very, very positive. 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation with the owner-operator of the Comfort Inn, off Fields Road, Governor's Way. He extended an invitation to public safety. If we had any fire officials or police officials that needed to quarantine, not because they were sick, but maybe in a case where they had to sequester themselves from their homes, he offered up a bank of rooms. He would reserve rooms free of charge. I'm happy to report we haven't had to take him up on that offer, but I thought it was a tremendous gesture, very well received. So things are going very, very well during this difficult time. We've had 4 District 3 deputies fall ill. Again, happy to report that none of them have tested positive for COVID-19, and all 4 of them have come back to work, as quickly as possible. They're all 4 back to full duty. The numbers that you see for April, when I have those gathered and sent to Mrs. Lipensky, you will see a sharp decline in activity. Part of that is because of our limited response plan. The other part is we're simply not getting the calls that the call volume is just not there. I compared the run volume for this month, April, compared to the average of the first 3 months of the year. And there's about a 30% decline in calls for service, but that's no surprise given the circumstances. So things are going very, very well. We've weathered the storm. Special thanks to Bill Pittman. On the Monday of the second week of the pandemic, Bill arrived with cleaning supplies. We've been disinfecting and sanitizing our area on a daily basis, and what Bill gave us carried us over until we took a huge delivery of supplies through the county. So we're in pretty good shape right now. And also, last comment, thank you for the Tahoe. The Tahoe that you purchased earlier this year is in service. It's a very nice vehicle. We're utilizing it on day shift. It's being driven exclusively by my choice, by a veteran officer who's very conscientious. But thank you for that. It is in service, and it's an impressive addition to our police fleet. And all in all, things have gone very, very well given the circumstances. So, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Chris, do you have anything to say?
No,
And thanks for coming back to Symmes Township.
no problem. Symmes has always been special to me. It's where I first started my patrols way back 30 years ago. Was in Symmes, and it has grown. I just want to take the time, and it may be more appropriate for the new business, but thanking the citizens, the trustees, the fire chief, Kim Lipensky, on the successful passing of the levy. That is another way that the citizens are truly supporting the fire and the police here in Symmes Township. They speak through you, the trustees, the administrator on the level and the type of service, and it's clear that they like the service they're getting. And I really appreciate that to the citizens who went out there and voted. It was kind of a unique year, doing it all by mail, which is a little different. A little bit with the virus, it has forced us, the Sheriff's Office, to realize we need to improve with technology. We know that we have people dedicated that are constantly working on that. We are improving. We've had to have half of our staff that I have that makes this all work from home. So it was kind of new for us. We were able to do that. Employee-wise, as far as the Sheriff's Office in patrols, we've had only 1 positive test so far. So knock on some of this plastic here. We've been very fortunate. And that person was asymptomatic, I guess is the term. The outpouring of support not only here in Symmes, but across every one of our townships, from the residents, the donation of masks, hand sanitizer from some of the local distilleries. And I tell you, it smells good enough to drink. We caution them, don't drink that. Some of the great bourbons out there have made fantastic hand sanitizers out there, and they've really been treating us well. I appreciate the support all these years with the trustees and this levy, and the chief. We're limited as far as the police on what we can do on levies. We kind of piggyback off, I said before, everybody really likes the fire department, so we kind of piggyback off of them, and we really appreciate that support and how you guys have been doing that. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Major.
you.
Thanks for coming back.
Fire?
Thank you, Board. You have 2 written correspondence with you. One's a memo and a follow-up on the fire hydrant on Harbortown, and the other one is the first quarter statistical report that actually brings us up through May. It was not ready at the last meeting. One thing we would like to ask the residents to do is to remember that our services are always there for them, even in this pandemic, and we don't want somebody to not receive services, not call the ambulance because they think they might be bothering us or overloading the system. The hospitals are fine. They have the ability to take care of our residents, as does our paramedics. We're seeing, as the emergency room is seeing, that people are not seeking health care when they need health care. They may be having chest pains or or other medical conditions, and they're afraid to call. And we want to make sure that they know that they can still call, we'll still be there. The emergency rooms, the doctors, the physicians, the nurses will be there for them. So if they find themselves in that need, they should not make a decision to stay home. They should call so that they can get the proper care that they need. So 911 is still available to them, and the folks are standing by to assist them with that. And I'd just like to echo the thanks to the Symmes Township residents for passing the safety service levy and the renewal of the road levy. As most residents know, well, I should say most residents probably don't know, but I know our township trustees do know, is that everything we do in the township here as a grassroots effort has to be done on property taxes. So if we don't have the resources from the residents, we can't provide those resources to the community. So they supported us, and we really appreciate that.
And I know I keep saying thank you to everybody, but I want to say thank you to Ott, because you took the lead on this levy, and you did a great job getting the information out and educating our township and explaining how we need the money for the fire and the police. So thank you. You did a great job. Any other comments?
Thanks,
Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chief, and we're all relieved with the outcome. Yeah, like your thank you signs out, by the way, too.
I do too, they're very fun. Okay, Director of Public Works, that's Bill, he's not here. Again, I want to thank him and the employees of the township. They've done a great job keeping the bathrooms clean and keeping everything moving as we go through this pandemic. And I just want to thank you and let them know how much I appreciate them for all the hard work they do. Committees, I don't think we have any committees right now. And then other, anyone? Okay. Correspondence, we don't have any. Events and meetings. Land Use Committee meeting Wednesday, May 6, 2020 at 6 p.m. via Zoom meeting. Finance Committee meeting Wednesday, May 13th at 6 p.m. That will also be a Zoom meeting. Memorial Day holiday, May 25th, 2020. All buildings will be closed. Board of Zoning Appeal meeting Monday, June 1st, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Administration Building. We will meet in stages for the meeting. And I guess as that gets closer, they'll post how they're going to work that out. Regular trustee meeting Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Administration. Meeting will be closed to the public but available through the RCIC and on YouTube. Yoga in the Park, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020 at Hopewell Meadows Park, and Yappy Hour, Thursday, June 4th at Symmes Park. Let's turn to the second page.
I assume 6-foot distancing will apply in these?
I guess we're going to
These
talk
events?
about that in a minute. Oh, and then we're going to, we have another, yoga's also going to be, it's always on Wednesdays and Saturdays. So Yoga in the Park, June 6, 2020 at 9:30 a.m. at Hopewell Meadow Park. Old business, we have none. New business, discussions concerning activities for the summer. Should we allow the shelter rental, HOB water park, or organized group activities to occur in the parks for the remainder of the summer? Currently, all recreation activities remain closed per the governor. So let's chalk that up. Does anybody want to go first? You want to hear my opinion?
Go ahead, start.
Okay. As long as it's okay with our governor, I feel that we need to move forward in our lives. We obviously have to have social distancing and be respectful, not to have too large of a group together. And I think as we move through this pandemic, we need to have some sense of normalcy in our lives. I think the water park, I would like to see the hours shortened, and I would like to see that the water be turned off. If we do like every 10 minutes, the water's turned off for 5. And I don't think we should be allowing commercial businesses to be using our playgrounds during this time, because that's
or any time without a permit.
Yeah, way too many people in our parks, and we need to make sure that we respect that social distancing. So that's my thoughts. Yoga in the park, we obviously can do a great job at 6 feet apart because we can spread out everywhere. Yappy hour, you know, we can
Can I ask
handle.
a question about it though? Because he's saying no more than 10 people. How do we get around that 10 people?
Okay, so 10 people for the rest of the summer, or 10 people just through June?
Wow.
Okay, so my thought is, as long as the governor is saying it's okay, then I think we should, you know, we obviously have to listen to the
So we probably
rules.
just have to wait until the end of May to
I
answer
concur.
that question then.
Yeah,
I don't really want to go against the governor.
no.
No.
Since
No,
All right,
We
well,
need-
we'll just wait till May
we need-
29th.
we have to follow
Yeah.
their lead.
I would like to see the tennis courts open up, because I think people at this point are getting very restless. And in some ways, I think, and I don't mean this, I think we need to, as we move through this pandemic, I understand that we're trying to save people's lives, but I think we're also, some people need to get out, they need to exercise. I know that there's an 80% rise in ODing, the crime rate, murder rate is way high. And from just talking with my friends, everyone's very down and very depressed. So I really don't think maybe opening up a tennis court and, you know, having 2 people on a court at a time is that big of a deal. Because I think everyone at this point that I know of is really starting to struggle. So I know we have to go with what the Hamilton County Health Board puts out there, but I would, you know, I kind of think loosening the reins if we can, if it's possible, it would be nice.
I think we all feel that way. We'd like to do what we can. It's a
Yeah.
question of what restrictions are placed on us.
Right. So I
And we
don't,
follow the guidelines.
Mhm.
Yeah. One other category really struggling. There's been a lot of suicides
I
in some of
know.
these situations.
that's why I keep saying, and I think a lot of people need some mental stimuli, me
Yeah.
included. And so I don't know what the answer is, but
I really liked this story on the news yesterday, I think it was yesterday or Sunday, about the guy who was gonna run in the Cincinnati Marathon or whatever. So, and it was canceled or whatever, it was gonna be a visual run or virtual run. So he decided, he lives in Westchester, so he ran every street in Beckett Ridge, which turns out to be over 70 miles. He did a triple marathon.
good for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I do
He
want-
stopped every 10 miles for a water break and so on, and his wife and 3 kids followed him up and down every street in Beckett Ridge. Couldn't believe it's 70 miles,
Yeah, me either.
Huh.
but that was a story on the news. And he was raising money to feed the hungry, the people that are struggling in this circumstance, being out of school and missing meals and things like that, so,
Yeah, and there's a lot of good people doing a lot of
Yes,
good
there
things
are.
right now.
yes, there are.
I just want to throw out a little thing, since he was talking about things that are, I walk through Mead Park a lot, and I want to thank all the children in Mead Park because they've been painting rocks. And so as you walk through Mead Park, there's all these painted rocks put in different locations for you to find. And they're all very fun, and they're all painted very cute. And I have gotten a lot of great feedbacks on how cute and how fun that is for the kids.
Treasure,
So-
are there any treasure maps out there or anything? That would-
No, I wanted to
Like
do like
Pokemon, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be fun to do something like that, but
Yeah,
you know,
Pokemon type
we
thing.
thought too many people in the park, and it's just weird, but, yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So, back to the bullet point. So do we want to, like you said, do we want to just kind of defer this till the end of the month to make decisions? Or when do remind me, I mean, the shelters would be up for rental this time of the year
Well,
in past years, right?
Yeah.
we're refunding several.
Yeah, we've already
So-
refunded several for all of May.
For the whole month of May?
Yeah,
Okay.
and we gave people the option, we gave them the option to reschedule for towards the end of the summer,
Mhm.
or just go ahead and get a refund, so it's been kind of part and part. But I have not been taking any future reservations because I was afraid, you know, if
Right.
this thing continues, I just didn't want to keep issuing refunds left and right.
Right.
So we've just kind of been on hold. But I'm more than happy to wait till May 29th to see what he,
Yeah,
ends up
And-
doing.
I'm still hung up over this 10 people kind of scenario. Very difficult to open a lot of activities because you can't control how many people were there.
Right.
So, we
I
have
mean, we know
guidelines.
people have been doing it because we're finding the remnants in the trash everywhere.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
We know they've been doing it, we just
yeah.
can't enforce it.
Sorry.
Okay.
The
I-
water park, as long as the governor says it's okay, I like that water park, but I would like to change the hours on it because I know how much money we spend on it. And so I would like the hours, at least for this year, to be cut and maybe to cut off the water so much during the day. So
Well-
maybe we can save some money there.
Okay.
I think it's gonna require a change in the timer system.
Yeah,
Because
Yeah.
right now, every time you tap it, you get 15 minutes water supply, right? And then when it quits, and if somebody right there hits it right again, it's another 15 minutes.
Right.
So it's gonna have to be programmed some way that there's a time lag in there. Play 15 minutes and take a 5-minute or 10-minute break,
Yeah.
go back and play again. I think that's a good suggestion to try and implement, but I think it's gonna cost us to get the
It will,
timing system.
I'll see if that can be done.
yeah. And can we come up with some sort of resolution and that we might send to all the daycares in the area saying you can't use?
I suggest a permit process. They have to apply for a permit, and we can always turn them down.
Or tell them because of the COVID,
Yeah, well,
until
I
we
mean,
can have time to
these
work
da-
on
These
it.
daycare centers and so on, I've seen it, and you've seen it.
Oh,
Where they
yeah.
come in with a bus load, and they occupy the whole park, and we get no revenue out of it, and they're getting the fees for the daycare.
Right,
Yeah.
So I think that we ought to at least institute a fee for group in that environment, or a permit, or something else that allows us some control over it.
yeah. But I think this year we shouldn't allow it, period, because I don't want all those people together.
Yeah, well-
Even
Well, it
if-
pushes
yeah.
out the residents, that's the issue.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So we might, but the thing is, policing it is the key, because we can't be everywhere every time. So
know,
we
but-
might have to put up a sign that says, this water park is provided for the residents of Symmes Township. If anyone sees commercial usage, call bop, bop, bop.
Okay.
And just have the
Yeah.
residents help us police it.
Well, hopefully nobody will take that sign when we put it up, because we're taking our signs.
Really?
I bet they're just bored.
I guess.
Nothing else to
Get one of those
do.
thanks, some signs
use it.
in my basement.
Problem is that we've
When-
spent a couple
when-
$1,000
when the season's over,
on signs.
save one of them
and
for me.
taking them.
All right,
To use it special hardware.
so let's see what
We
happens with,
even bolted it to the building, and I guess people have been bringing their impact wrenches to the buildings and taking them off.
Are you kidding me?
No,
Wow.
I'm not kidding. I think
Got
Bill
nothing
had,
else.
didn't Bill have to file a police report with you, Tori?
Regarding a sign,
Multiple signs, it's not just one, it's all over. I thought he told me he filed a police report with you guys.
well, the last I heard, there was
Or
some
is there
signs that
more?
were stolen,
Yeah.
and after the last storm, it had wiped out the camera system temporarily.
Okay.
That's what I was told by my people. So, because that's naturally, that was something we were immediately going to go to, was, hopefully to find some camera footage, and it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Now we've gone to special bolts on the building so they can't take them off.
Mhm.
Nor can we.
That's okay.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
okay, so I guess we're gonna wait to see what happens towards the end of the month and
Yeah.
play it by ear.
We'll just have to look at it.
Okay. All right, we need to schedule a public hearing for the tax budget, June 2nd, 2020?
That seemed like we have a meeting, so what do we do that, in front of the 7 o'clock meeting, or?
No, we'll just do it during our meeting.
Okay, first,
Okay.
okay. Open a public hearing at the beginning of the meeting, and then close it and go into regular session, all
So
right.
do I need a motion, or I just, do I
Yeah, you
need?
can make a motion.
Okay, I move to have a public hearing for the tax budget on a regular meeting on June 2nd, 2020.
Second,
Roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
aye.
Mr. Bath.
Aye.
I move approval of resolutions G 2020-37, resolution authorizing the township administrator to sign an agreement with Police Protection Services with the Hamilton County Sheriff Office and the Board of County Commissioners, and dispensing with a second reading.
Second.
Discussion? Anybody? I think you do a great job for the township. You're definitely worth the money that we pay, and just thanks for doing a great service.
I think we've had a lot of discussion on this particular renewal, and
Yeah.
it's a good contract. Yeah, thank you.
You're gonna check on that 4 years versus 3 for me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I was trying to text the attorney as we, we're sitting.
okay. I really wanna get these two not coming up at the same time.
Okay, are we, roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Okay, if I can talk. I move approval of Resolution G 2020-38, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to sign an agreement and contract for fire protection and emergency medical services with the Loveland Symmes Fire Department and dispensing with the second reading.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, again, I want to thank Audit. I think they do a great job. I think the fire department does a great job, and we're glad to work with you. Okay?
And same comment as before, I know there's been a lot of back and forth with this particular contract, and appreciate your patience, and I think it's a good agreement. Thank you.
I have a question. Well, I have a couple of questions. Is there a disadvantage, and I'm sure for your planning purposes there probably is, but is there a disadvantage to a 1-year versus a 3-year contract?
Oh, yes, indeed, yes.
Yeah.
We struggle to keep employees when our neighboring cities are paying $20,000 a year more for a paramedic than we are paying here. And so it's difficult when they have the opportunity to go somewhere else, especially they look at the fact that stability of our service is based on 12 months. So they could be out of a job in 12 months. The trustees would decide not to renew the contract. So stability for them, stability for being able to operate the service and understand what the, what the funding levels are going to be. So that's.
I was thinking about the difference in the, the 2 different contracts, 1 versus 3, especially relative to, the directive that came down like from our governor, asking for 20% cuts across the board for all state agencies. And then that was repeated in a letter around the middle of the month from Dusty Rhodes on the negative impact we're going to have from this shutdown as far as tax revenues go. And we don't know how much, but he's saying count on about 10%. So there's a lot of unknowns as far as what our revenues are going to be. And I know the levy passed, and I have no way of knowing one way or another the parameters of the increases you asked for 5%, per year for 3 years in a row. I know what dollar amount that averages out to at the end of the 3 years, but I have no way of knowing one way or another if, what's the magic of 5%? Why not 8%? Why not 3%? I don't understand that because I have nothing to base it on. And I would like some input on, that figure.
Okay, well, the 5% is basically what allows us to maintain the level of service without going over. We've been 5% for probably the 40 years I've been here.
I think that includes raises, and that
Yeah,
includes health insurance
Insurance.
and all different
Right.
things like that, that
Well, I know there's a lot
5%.
of unknowns, like we never know what health insurance is going to be from
Right.
year to year.
Except it'll be higher.
But,
We know that.
Yes, we do.
Just a question, how much?
but that's it. I don't have figures to look at to show me what that's done over the past 2, 3, 4 years, what you're projecting into the future, and something like that. That's the only reason I question it. And the fact that I don't know what's going to come out of this shutdown. I don't think anybody does. And then when you get information like that from your Hamilton County Auditor and your governor about impacted revenues, I think we have to be cautious in all areas of how we allocate money. By all parameters that I'm aware of, you run an excellent fire department. I don't question that at all. But from a fiscal standpoint, you know, I have to voice concerns that I have as far as, you know, the 1 versus 3, since we don't know what's going to happen.
Okay, can I kind of address it? We also have in this contract that if for any reason we have what, a 6-month out agreement, what is it?
90 days?
90 days. So there is an out
Before
if
the
their
la-
money's not
Before
there,
90 days before the end of the year, right?
right? So there is an out if for some reason we do not have the money.
And we
So
don't-
1 year
and we don't
versus
get
3
service.
years doesn't matter because we have an out anyway. So if we get to the point next year that we can't afford the fire department, Joe, you have the out anyway. Right?
I don't know that for sure.
I'm not sure, I'm sorry if I can interject, I thought, I don't have the original agreement in front of me, I just have the amendment that you're considering this evening for passage. But my recollection is, and we can verify if we have to, is the notice needs to be provided so many days before the end of a year,
Yes.
but the contract continues for the following year and then it's over. I think that's what it says.
I'm not sure that's what I read, but
There was
I
something
think,
to that
I think if you
effect.
give
When I looked
notice
at it
before the end
a
of the,
week ago or so.
let's face it, what are we gonna do? We don't have any other
Right.
fire protection, and by law, we have to provide fire protection,
Correct.
And
okay?
as we know, we've
So-
searched high and low.
We're not out
The
looking for an
Loveland
alternate
Sim- The Loveland
source
Simms
right
Fire
now.
Department is basically one of the most cost-effective departments we have. It's, you know, what do we have the option of? Our own department? Do you know how much that would cost us, Joe? Do you wanna go there?
Well, I don't know. I don't know figures that compare to anything to anything. You
Okay.
know, I
Well, you
just
kinda
don't
gotta
know.
trust us.
Uh,
You have to trust us.
Yeah, but see, I'm all for transparency.
Well-
You should know that from the dealings I had with the previous fiscal officer.
Well,
You know, it's
And so
an
how are we
important-
not being transparent? Can you explain that to me? How are we not being transparent?
I didn't say you weren't being
Well, you said that
transparent.
we're
I
all
didn't
for
say anybody-
transparency. and-
When I'm looking at budgets, and I don't understand budgets that much because it's totally different in government than it is in private business, to me it seems like. But still, I would like to be able to look at some figures that tell me what current expenses are, what they've done over the past year or two, what you're projecting that the expenses are going to be in the future, what the justification is for 3% or 5% or 10% or 18%, anything like that. I have nothing to base it on, base anything on. You know, that's all I'm asking. I don't see anything to base a decision on. And it scares me when I see stuff like that from this economic slowdown.
Yep. Well,
You know, because
Why don't we schedule a sit-down?
we're talking on the current contract where, but at the end of the 3-year period, we're tying into another over $500,000 in costs. So then is the 3-year contract over that going to be the same? We're going to go 5% every year? I mean, when do you hit a limit?
How much does the township's budget go up?
I'm sorry.
How much does the township's budget go up? How much is the township's budget going up this year as it was last year,
I don't know.
or the year before that?
I don't know.
Kim?
it's not drastic.
Yeah, it's not
We're
drastic.
About
I
a
don't know
half,
the exact
I'd say in the
percentage.
order of $500,000 a year.
No, I'm talking about percentage.
Percentage.
I'm talking about
Okay,
percentage.
so we're running on average 10 million, so half, that'd be like 5%. Okay.
Yeah, that I don't know.
There are always unknowns. I saw one here tonight coming in, a surprise at the Union Cemetery fix is costing us thousands of dollars. Another one on the agenda tonight is a forensic analysis of 20. We didn't budget for those things. Okay, they always have surprises. When the residents of Symmes Township just passed a levy for an increase of 2.6 mils, okay? Knowing about levies, that's for 5 years, And in a levy and a collection time frame, you're collecting more than you spend at the front. And the level that you collect is the same, but your expenses go up over time. So you got some sandbagging money up front that you end up in the 4th and 5th years of the contract, you're spending more than you're taking in, historically speaking. So this 10% on the front end, if we don't get it from the tax revenues, I think we should be okay as long as in that 5-year term, the money gets paid. We should be okay. That's my philosophy.
So what are you saying, Jimmy?
We got an item up for voting. We're discussing it, and if there's more discussion, then certainly let's have it. But we have an issue to vote on.
Right.
Okay. Anything else, John?
No.
I appreciate you bringing things up, I really do.
Well, it's a concern to me.
It's a
'Cause
different.
I don't know what the economic shakeout's
It's a
gonna
slightly
be.
different viewpoint perhaps than what we've had in the past. It's good to have different viewpoints and so on and so forth, but I think by the time you guys sit down and work on these things and get more familiar with the budget, you'll understand how we got where we are.
Well, I can't do that without looking at past history.
Okay.
Just like I can't with the budgets that are done for everything,
Okay.
you know, unless you look at past history, I have no idea.
Well,
what costs are
that
covered, yeah.
history is there. It's a matter of digging it out. Okay.
But I mean, with anything we approach for funding and increasing, we aren't digging in a bottomless pit.
No,
Right. You know,
no.
the well can run dry. And I just have to approach things the way I do for myself personally. You know, if we have it, fine. If it's warranted, fine. And everything may be. But I don't sit in a position where I have the information that allows me to say that with certainty.
Okay.
And we're in an uncomfortable time economically, where there are a lot of parameters with the economy that are unknown, and we don't know where it's going to go. I think we will come back fine, but I don't know how many years it will take, and I don't know how that's going to impact us on our revenues. I have no way of knowing that.
Based on what happened in 2008, took five or more
Yeah.
years to come
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
You know,
I understand.
that was the only thing. And, you know, with any contract, with any long-term contract, even with the sheriff, you know, to me,
Well,
I know we have to have it, I'm not arguing that. I know we have to have fire, I'm not arguing that. I think we have excellent police protection, I think we have excellent fire protection. I'm not debating any of that. I'm just saying that I have to look at things from parameters that make sense to me.
Okay. Well, a multiple year contract is to the advantage of the people providing the service so they can retain employees and plan.
Right.
Well, it's just as advantageous to us to have a multi-year contract that allows us to plan. We can put down what these things are gonna cost us in the next year and the next year, and when we start doing our budget. Okay.
And so maybe over the next 3 years, you can reach out to other fire departments and see what their costs are.
Well, that's possible.
Yeah, and so then you can have a solid number when we come back
Yeah.
and see. So you can contact like Sycamore Township and Anderson Township, the ones that run their own fire department, and see what the cost of their fire department is versus ones with like a shared department that we have.
Yeah.
And then you can figure out which is better.
Well, anytime I see anything that's confusing to me as far as costs go, I will be bringing it up, you know. And I'm new at this, and I'm fully aware that I'm new at this. And there's much to be learned, but when I have questions, I have to ask them. And this is the proper context to ask them in.
Okay. Nobody objects to that at all.
Hmm?
No one objects to that at all.
Yeah.
We welcome it.
Anything else?
Any other discussion?
Another question I had on costs, that it's probably, I don't know if it's appropriate to bring it up this time or not. When I look at the report for what it's costing us per call, I don't have an understanding of why that type of increase is occurring. You know, in January, the average was $21.53, February, $24.04, March, $25, the current one is $28.99.
Cost for what,
Yeah.
Calls, per call, for
You talking about for
runs.
the communication center?
What's that?
You talking about for the communication center?
I'm talking about fire, police, EMT. These are calls that go through the call center.
So you're talking
Yeah,
about cost for the
communication.
911 center?
Right,
Is that what you call it, a 911 center? I don't know.
right.
Right.
Northeast
Call it the
Communications
dispatch
Center.
center.
Yeah, there's a fixed dollar amount, and it's divided by the amount of calls that they receive that month. And then if Loveland receives more calls, Symmes does, Loveland gets billed more than Symmes does.
So
the
it's
amount-
volume based?
Yeah, and if you had a lot less calls, say in March, and you have the same fixed overhead, the cost per call is gonna go up,
Okay.
okay? Whereas if you had a lot more calls, that really justifies the size of the department
Well,
and so on.
yeah, I understand that, but I
Okay.
also understand that calls could be handled by the county. Is there any way to bring costs more in line with what it would be going that way versus going through the current call center?
Well, it's not, you're not comparing apples to apples.
What am I not comparing?
911 calls and the service that's provided out of the center. You're not comparing apples to apples. Hamilton County is not a comparable communication center to what we run here locally.
And can I make a comment? I think with what we're seeing now with the COVID-19, I don't know if the 911 center for the county is going to be able to maintain that low cost volume because the county itself is going to have some funding issues. So if we were in normalcy, I think that might be a big question, but I think the next 12 months are really going to show us what is what because of the money that the county's going to lose because of this COVID-19. And if they're going to be able to keep that low cost volume for 911 versus what we have now. I think it's all up in the air because of what's going on.
I understand the greater volume that goes through there accounts for a lower per call cost. And we
We're not
probably-
normally. Hamilton County was normally higher than us until all of a sudden the county commissioners decided they wanted to increase the sales tax on the residents of Symmes Township and then give that sales tax money to every other community in Hamilton County and lower their communication center cost. So for the last 20 years that we've been running the communication center, that the residents of this township asked us to start because their costs were too high. And we did that for the township residents at their request. Now, all of a sudden, the county commissioners have come up with this grandiose plan to buy off the residents who were going to go against the sales tax by giving them money back on this plan to reduce to $5 for their communication center. All of a sudden now, everybody wants to run back to Hamilton County with their hair on fire. And then what happens in Hamilton County when they do the same thing they did to our taxpayers when we had the stadium deal? We were supposed to get money back on the stadium deal. That didn't work out too good for our residents, did it?
I think we're going to,
Ed,
go ahead.
every time I ask a question on anything, I don't expect angry response. I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking for my own enlightenment. So you have a history on that explains some of it. But there's no reason to get angry about it. I have every right to ask the question.
Why wasn't the question asked when the police contract was up and they didn't, before they voted on the police contract?
I don't know.
I wasn't asking.
I'm telling you, everything ought to be questioned. Yeah, I don't know. You know?
You don't know why the question wasn't asked, what
No,
we
why
didn't
it
ask?
wasn't asked. He's asking why it wasn't asked.
Of us?
Any of us can ask the question. I'm not the only one that can ask questions here.
I think I'm confused on this. I mean, I think we knew the answers to those questions.
I didn't.
Okay, so you can ask that question.
Yes,
but-
I can. I
Right,
expect
okay,
to be
but-
able to get it without anger.
Right, so we knew the answer, so we don't need to ask that question. So that's why it wasn't asked on our part.
I didn't ask why
Okay.
you didn't ask.
Okay, I just thought that, all right. So I think the next year with the 911 center for the county and the 911 center with the fire department, there's going to be some issues. We'll have to look at it as the year goes by because of COVID-19, they might not be able to keep that low volume, that low amount because they're going to have less income. So we're just going to have to keep our eye on that for the year.
I mean, I have no problem with keeping an eye on
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Anything else? Do you want to make a comment, Phil or Ken? Anybody?
No, I already commented. I mean, we've had a lot of back and forth on both contracts, police, fire, Kim. So, I think the terms are good.
Okay.
Roll call. You want a roll call, Chip?
Roll call, please.
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan,
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-40, resolution authoring a change order in the Blanc Road Bridge Replacement Project contract from Smith Construction in the amount of $11,400.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, Kim, can you tell us a little bit the background? I've read both the staff report and this number and so on. Is it only to the entrances to our cemetery, or where is it? It says Union Cemetery Road.
Montgomery Road, it's Union Cemetery, but it's Montgomery Road to Fields Road, so it's that stretch, that small stretch.
From where?
Montgomery Road
Fields
to
Road.
Fields Road.
So the other side of Montgomery.
So from the bank to JCPenney,
Oh, that's
that's,
Governor's Way, isn't it?
no, it's
No,
Union
okay.
Cemetery.
Okay,
We paved Governor's Way last year.
okay. I'm with you now, thank you. I've seen big rigs turning corners and everything, destroying all kinds of stuff. But this has to do with, is it drainage issues or just what?
It's paving,
Paving,
this is paving.
okay. That's a county road. That's not a township road.
Right, we've been doing this for the last 3 years. The county gives us money and we add a county road onto our paving.
Okay,
program.
now it's clear to me.
We're past.
Thank you.
We're basically
Yeah,
past.
we're just,
Yeah,
we can
okay.
do, we're getting it done
Reimburses.
cheaper than the county's getting it.
I
done.
understand,
Yeah.
okay.
With
But
our
I also
contract.
understand it took a while for us to get our money on the last couple. So, took a long time
I don't know. I
to
don't-
close the books and so on. We had that hassle with our previous fiscal officer, okay? So just anything we can do to expedite payment, repayment, if you will, I'm in favor of.
Okay.
So, okay, I understand a lot better now.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Roll call?
Ms. Lees,
Aye.
Mr. Bryan.
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I move approval of Resolution G 2020-41, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to enter into agreement with MX Consulting to perform accounting services not to exceed $20,000.
Second.
Discussion? This is for our forensic audit?
Yes.
All right. So when are we gonna start that? Do we have a date when it's gonna start?
I guess whenever we give them the information.
Okay, have we pulled together a lot of the information you're expecting us to provide?
We have all of the assessments,
Okay,
so I
That's a
have
good-
that
that's a
in
good
2
s-
boxes.
that's a good start.
Yeah, the only thing that we'll have to go back to the bank is I was hoping that they would have available online all our bank statements with all the little checks, but they do not. So I'm gonna have to ask the bank to provide all that.
They said that they went back 10 or
They go
seven,
back 7 years.
Yeah, seven, that number stuck in my
Right,
head, 7 years.
But I don't know exactly, it's not available online, so I'm
Okay.
gonna have to actually go to the bank. Well, you can't go to the bank, but I'll have to talk to Bam
Okay,
and try to get all the information.
all right. Yeah, I think it's to our advantage if they only have 80 working hours or whatever to do this, for
Right,
them to have all the material that we can provide to them. Now, surely they're gonna come back and ask for something else, but as
Right.
much as we can give them up front to keep them working, and
right.
it's advantageous to us. Okay.
Okay, roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye,
Joe, can you circle back to number 40?
yeah,
Did I miss?
Skipped it.
Which one did I miss?
the one above it.
40.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, Blanc,
My mistake.
I wrote my I down in the wrong.
I checked it, so I must have acted. I move approval of Resolution 2020-40, resolution authoring a change order in the Blanc Road Bridge Replacement Project contract for Smith Construction, the amount of $11,400.
Second.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I did miss it. Discussion?
We never really wanted to do that. The county forced us to with their inspection and so on. I happen to go past it almost on a daily basis. It's a boondoggle. I mean, do you know what this change order for $11,400?
It's for additional concrete, so when they dug the footers for the actual bridge, the ground, it's all based on the soil condition.
Okay,
So they needed additional concrete to stabilize it, and they needed additional concrete on the wing walls as you go up the bank,
yep,
so due to the soil condition.
okay.
So
Now,
it's just
we already
one-
had one change order in there because the under the water flow or whatever, they had to stabilize that.
Well, this is our first change order for,
Really?
yeah.
There was
for the long
eight
road.
yards of concrete they had to pour.
Right, this is all
Oh,
incorporated. I've
okay.
been-
So this is not a second change order, whatever that
We just
one
waited till the
was,
very end.
rolled into this 11-4. Okay,
Right,
that was
I
my
can
concern.
forward you guys the correspondence on it, just so you would be aware
Yeah.
that it was coming,
Okay,
but they waited till the very end of the
Mm.
project.
that's crazy. They had to bust that out of there with their pneumatic drills and so on and so forth, and they must have had 4 to 5 feet of concrete they had to go through.
Yeah, it was pretty thick. I will tell you though that, they submitted their first pay request, and then we went ahead and certified it and sent it to OPWC to pay. And we are going to be asking OPWC if they'll pick up that $11,400 amount. And they might even have additional money for us to even pick up some of our match.
Okay,
So we are going to ask the
Okay,
question. They did say they had some extra money.
you're good, because you knew I was gonna ask that
I did know
question.
you would ask that. I was ahead of you.
Okay, good for you.
Okay, are we done? Okay,
Yes.
roll call?
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
Okay, I move approval of Resolution G 2020-42, resolution authorizing the Township Administrator to enter into agreement with National Gunite to make repairs to stormwater pipes in Union Cemetery in the amount of $13,725.
Second.
Discussion?
Yeah, this is going through our cemetery that we have these drainage pipes and so on, and,
Yeah, it's the entrances, so it's the culvert pipes.
okay,
So as you come into one entrance off Montgomery Road, that entrance there is failing, and then the entrance right here off of Union Cemetery, that culvert pipe is failing.
the one on Montgomery Road that's closed, all,
Right.
those entrances are failing?
The culvert pipes, yeah.
That are under those entrances?
That are underneath the roadway.
Okay,
are
and we,
failing.
and what does natural gunite do to make repairs? Do they
They're
go in and
going
spray it?
to yeah, they're gonna spray it and reinforce it because there's missing blocks that are in
Okay.
the culverts. So they're gonna spray that, you know, how they put that concrete, like there's
Yeah.
some kind of resin wire stuff that they put in there, and then they spray it with the concrete
The
solution.
gunite,
whatever
yeah.
it's made of, and it just reinforces it.
Okay,
Because it would cost us a lot more money to
Yes.
dig it all the way out, replace the culvert pipes, and then have to fill it in, change the catch basins out. So this kind of puts a Band-Aid on it for a while.
yeah, It makes sense to me if you can do it. But we don't even really use that one entrance, do we?
No,
Okay.
but unfortunately, it's,
Yeah,
the water flows
I
through
understand,
those pipes,
understand.
and that's what's causing the damage. Because sometimes even the water down there near Montgomery Road, it's really high. It like even encompasses the whole pipe sometimes.
Well, there's another culvert actually in the cemetery itself, isn't there? That drains to the creeks and so on.
I would think there has to be.
Yeah, I mean, pretty good sized one, down near the chapel. Okay.
Okay, anything else? Okay, roll call.
Ms. Lees?
Aye.
Mr. Bryan?
Aye.
Mr. Beck?
Aye.
I move approval of the following expenditures and authorizing for the Township Administrator to sign any necessary contracts, agreements, or paperworks. A, Amendment 1A16, General Health from $42,000 to $43,500. B, Amendment A, 1-A-21, election expenses from $5,000 to $8,200. C, 7-A-2, other from $3,500 to $4,200. D, Amendment 6A-4, capital outlay from $500 to $14,225. E, transfer $309,800 from 14-10D to Fund A-1B, principal $295,000, 14-A-B, interest $4,874. Did I make a mistake there?
14,000.
Did I say, oh, sorry, $14,874 to make a bond payment for TIF fund. F, expenditure then and now, $6,612.33, Cummins diesel for turbo replacement for E61. G, expenditure then and now, $3,128.69, Kenworth of Cincinnati for repairs to Medic 61. H, expenditure then and now, $3,815.10, Cummins diesel for repairs to I, expenditure $5,119.20 for MITS, and J, expenditure $4,992 for Ray Meyer sign to purchase and install sign at Meade.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get several.
me too.
First off, I want to talk about this list of amendments to our budget, because on the resolution that we just passed, G 2020-42, in it, it says, Section 3, appropriations for the cemetery bequest fund, number 6, be increased from $1,500 to $15,225. That's all well and good for it to be in there, but should it not be here at the same?
No, it can be on the resolution. What this did is it actually increases that particular line item in Fund 6,
Okay,
so that we can pay for it.
okay. I guess I'm used to seeing amendments to the budget like this,
Yeah.
and not necessarily.
I like to
I
put them in the
I
resolution.
miss them in there, you know,
But
sometimes.
I like to put them in the resolution, that way it's all together.
Okay,
Like if we have to increase the appropriation of the line item.
okay. I accept the explanation. Second question has to do with when do we make our payments for the TIF fund?
Well, we just got a bond payment for Chris, and that's what sparked this to go on the agenda.
I mean,
So, interest payment dollars that's due, so that's why I put this on there to make that transfer, because I'm not sure why it has 214 funds.
okay.
Like, I'm not used to doing that.
You might want to go back and look at some of the previous audits that was done by that outfit in Marietta, Ohio.
Eric.
I think there was an instruction in there or something that maybe she had to split these.
Right, I've always seen bond payments split principal and interest, but I've never seen them where you have to put them in a separate fund
Okay.
to make the payment.
You might just,
Irregardless.
I'd just take a look at that and see.
That's the way our budget was set up for this year.
Mm-hmm.
So we just have to transfer it out of 14A, A10D, and then we just have to transfer it into that 14A1B and 14A4B to make those 2 interest payments.
Okay, well,
Or
my,
the interest and the principal payment. We haven't
my-
gotten the principal yet, but just the
Okay.
interest.
well, my question really, because I know that,
The one's due now.
okay. And how much notice do we have before we have to pay it?
We just got it last week.
So it's
that's
paid
why
due
I
the end
put
of
it-
June or something?
Yeah, I bet it's due in June.
Okay, that's what I want, that's really what I was looking
But
for.
just as soon as I got it, that's why I put it on the.
Okay. Question I had has to do with the Cummins diesel issues on engine 61.
Yep.
Is this we started into diagnostics and so on and found issue for repairs at 3815,
Actually, the first repair that came by.
and
came through
then
was
they couldn't fix it,
6600.
then they couldn't fix it, so they had to do this other fix? And that's why it's 6612?
Well, the first expense was the 6612,
Mm-hmm,
and then they came to me and said, hey, we got this Medic 61 that needs to be repaired, and it's $3,100. And then today, they just came back to me and said, the $6,600 isn't gonna cut it, now it's gonna cost another $3,800 because there's something else that's also wrong with engine 61.
okay.
So I said, okay.
All right.
And is this an older vehicle?
Engine 61, I think engine 61 than the one we got at 60.
And I'm assuming that it doesn't have any warranties or anything that would cover something like that?
It's a 2008, so it's 11 years old.
And what's the one we got at 60?
Engine 60 is a 2015.
Okay, I
And-
had it backwards.
What is the general life on a
It
vehicle?
depends, it's anywhere from 12 to 15 years.
Okay, so we still got life.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I think he's got it on the replacement schedule in 2023.
okay.
Okay. All right, sounds good, thank you.
Okay, and I'm assuming the election expense went from 5,000 to 8,200 because of mail-ins or what?
I have no idea, all I know is that when we got our tax, like, you know how we get our advances in February and then we get our net, like, whatever's left over in April?
Yeah,
I did notice that for the general health district, the election expenses and that 7A2 other is all treasurers and auditors fees. They were all higher than what we had budgeted.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay,
Trying to make up the 20%.
that's right. Yeah,
So we have to amend our budget.
I'm sorry,
to
I'm so cynical.
account for the additional expenses from the county.
right. And the muffin mitts, I know in the past we've had certain vets offer to buy some. Maybe we need to start looking into that too.
Yeah, and this is because we've had a run on mutton.
A run.
Well, because
Run, run.
everybody's
Yeah.
out.
No pun
Poor
intended.
choice of phrase.
Everybody's out.
I don't know if they're taking them for their dog or they're taking them to like pump their gas or what it is.
Oh,
but I
that's
didn't
true
know.
too.
Never thought of that.
They're gone.
Yeah.
And we just bought some at the end of last year, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say how frequently. We buy normally a
usually
skid
buy-
load, right?
Yeah, usually we'll buy a couple skids, what, it'll last us a whole year, not this year.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
all right. But to Jody's point, we had a vet, I think it was in Mason, wasn't it, wanted to provide not
They
mud
did.
mitts, but their bags
Right.
for
They
their
wanted to put-
advertising.
Right, to put their name on
And
it.
did we just tell them no, or what?
I didn't tell them anything, because I didn't know what you guys wanted
Okay,
to
so they
do.
went away.
They didn't
Lack of
call us
response,
back.
they went away.
Maybe we should just
Okay.
send out a feeler to our vets in Symmes
Yeah.
Township.
Hey, Joe, you know any vets?
A different life.
Okay, all right.
Anything else?
Yeah, I had one other question on the Ray Meyer sign. Is this the one at Mead that we had to put up because of the
Yes.
ODNR or
Yes.
whatever?
Yes, so this is gonna match all the other signs in the township.
Yeah.
It'll say Mead Historic Preserve, I think I put a picture of
Mhm.
what it's gonna look
Oh,
like.
okay.
We
Look
did find
nice.
out the dedication date is not right, it's 2006 instead of 2012, so we'll change that and then order the sign.
Okay.
Dedication.
And just as we're talking at Mead, I know that we were talking about putting the sunflower bed back up.
Yes, we are gonna wait until, because I think last year we put it in like the first and second week of May. This time we're gonna wait till like the third and fourth week to try to get it to last longer into
So,
summer.
okay, that'll be beautiful.
Because last time we planted it really early and then we got all that rain in May and then it all shot. I mean, it was really beautiful.
It was beautiful.
But it shot up pretty early and it didn't last as long as we thought it would.
Well, as cold as it is right now in May.
Yeah. So we're gonna wait a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Bill, do you have any questions?
No, answered them.
Roll call.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
Mr. Bryan.
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
I move, we have no executive session, so I move to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Ms. Lees.
Aye.
Mr. Bryan.
Aye.
Mr. Beck.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Be safe.